Hey, what's up everybody, BDF 44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so I'm doing my little daily walk. Check my account and realize I'm under what I need for this week's hotel. I'm like, how the fuck am I like $50 under it? T-Mobile snatched money out that I did not intend for them to take. When my uncle made the transfer, I didn't get to it in time before they did. So they took some of the money that I need for the hotel this week. I'm telling you, I'm so sick of T-Mobile, man. I really am. I am sick of these people. I don't want to pay them anymore. I'm supposed to have already had my phone for my boy T, but haven't been able to meet up with him to get the phone for what would otherwise be a new situation for myself. And that cost me what I needed. So now I got to try to find a way to get my uncle to send me like $60 or something like that I thought I had. I didn't know that until right now. I'm glad I figured it out, but hopefully with what I submitted yesterday, this can be the week they give me my GR, and then we won't have that problem at all, because that's really what we're waiting on, this GR to come around and finally do right. But it's just the point, man. I thought he had sent me enough money, and there was enough money. It literally was. But the amount that they said was initially in the account when I checked it initially had already subtracted the $60 without actually saying that it had subtracted it. They must have set it aside and then transferred it a different time. So when I transferred everything over thinking I had enough, they took it anyway. I guess that's how that worked. Don't really make any sense either way, but I'm down what I thought I needed, and what I definitely needed, I'm down. So it's just a hassle, man. When they gave me that more expensive room, yeah, it was cheaper for the first week, but for the second and third week, it's like $461. Who the hell wants to spend $461 on a hotel room for the week? But believe it or not, that's one of the cheapest rates you're going to find. Believe it or not. In fact, it is most definitely one of the cheapest rates you're going to find. So I just need my own place, man. This being homeless thing it's got enough problems attached to it, but having to keep asking people for money and having to cough up money however it comes, I need GR to come through so that can put me in a position to have my own place. So I was walking down the street chipper until I found out that I didn't have everything in my account I needed. I left the house feeling good. Now I'm like, damn. But it's Tuesday. I don't have to pay that till Sunday, so hopefully a lot can happen between now and then. But yeah, man, otherwise was feeling pretty good. I mean, you know, as I told you, my homegirl had blocked me yesterday, but you know, I think it was for the better in regards to, you know, I saw something in the devotional that said when you're going through difficulties, it just disciplines you to really rely on God more and on what you were otherwise leaning on less. And I think that's very good for me, given the fact that I'm going through what I'm going through. I constantly got to find new strength to get through it. What she's doing in that way is just like, man, it sucks, but it ain't gonna be the same reaction to it that I had 2 weeks ago. So I left a video up here earlier today. I got up this morning feeling really prayerful. I told you all about the dreams that I had last night, which were really poignant, with my mother involved in all three of them. I slept for like anywhere from 10 to 12 hours last night, off and on. And I'm just very rejuvenated physically. I feel good. Yesterday I was not. I was very sick yesterday, but not today. I feel very good. Did a lot of push-ups this morning. A whole lot of push-ups, actually. I've added some to my regimen. So I kind of surprised myself. Got down there, did 110. Got down there another time, did 95. I usually, at this point, I'm looking to get down there and do 70. But with the rest that I got last night, coupled with the fact that my chest had been hurting these last couple of days trying to build that strength up, I'm able to do more now because of it. Because it was I guess that muscle grew in overnight. So it's a blessing to still have these habits, especially this late in life at 39 years of age, to not have so much wear on my body that I can get down and still do career highs and stuff like that and different things. Adding to my squat regimen, I did 4 sets of 85. You know, been adding to it like crazy. Put more weight in the suitcase, so it's like I'm looking the way I want to look again. Even though I don't have my heavy 30 pounders, the suitcase is giving me kind of almost what I need in that regard, with my squat regimen having so much in it. Because when I had my 30 pounders, I was squatting, I think what I was trying to do was like 50 every time I squat, 4 sets of 50 or something like that. So with me taking a little less weight, I don't think it's 60 pounds of weight in my suitcase, but it's something like probably like 45, and you squat that like 85 times, 4 times, you're gonna get the same result. You're gonna get that same strength. So it's giving me the definition that I once had, and I'm happy with it. Took some pictures last night, and I look better than I've ever looked. So it's like, well, it's arguable. Last year around this time when I had those heavyweights, I was doing a lot, but I'm able to do more. That's the point. At this age, it's not something that you see too often, with people being able to have this many reps and do it naturally without any supplements, no steroids, no creatine, nothing like this, all natural. And so I'm very proud of that, man, and I hope that it can continue to put some years on my life and some good looks on my body, I guess. So, just trying, man, trying my best, trying to weather the storm of all these circumstances in my life that don't seem favorable. People are not really, treating me the way I want to be treated in certain situations. I can't do nothing about them, man. It's just like I was finding out last night through the dream that I had. A lot of that stuff I was doing back when I was a youngster, it's just coming back to haunt me. Treating my mom the way I did when I should have been treating her with more respect. Should have been nicer, should have been kinder. Now that stuff is coming back to me just like she told me it would. Just like she told me it would. And then you leaving people on hold, not calling people back, that kind of stupid crap, not being considerate. Now I'm dealing with somebody who I really want to be considerate toward me. She's being absolutely inconsiderate as much as possible. So it's like, man, that's cool. I know what that is. Just got to deal with it. At any rate, having unmarried sex is fornication. Fornication will not enter the kingdom of God. Man, I'm going to be honest with you. I never really subscribed to that. I think if you go toward any type of lust of any kind, it's just a bridge the enemy can cross over. But as far as you having to be married, what is marriage? What is it really? A lot of times marriage is based on the ceremony, and that's something that's agreed upon amongst us. If you put God in between your relationship with the person that you're with, and you agree that y'all together for life, then that's marriage. So if it's some type of ceremony that's supposed to signify that, that's an agreement in our culture. That's not necessarily a thing. I was gonna tell you that right now. People have lived many, many moons and done a lot of marriages that didn't have no ceremony attached to it because it costs a lot, and they didn't want everybody or whatever they did. But they lived their whole lives, they was together. If they considered themselves married, then I guess it falls into the criteria what it is they talk about. And there's a lot of different ceremonies that are being done around the world that signify a person being life partners or people being life partners. But at the end of the day, even if you don't have that ceremony, if God recognizes y'all together forever, and that's what I believe it is. Now, whether or not you want to have premarital relations with somebody or not, people have needs, man. And maybe they need those needs met. I think the best way to handle that is to talk to God about bringing somebody into your life that he will put into your life for that purpose, so that you don't find yourself doing something that the enemy's using to make you worse. Other than that, man, that's the approval of man. That ain't got nothing to do with God. God's not judging you based on that, in my humble opinion. And not the God I know. He would rather you not go toward any of that crap so he can get closer to you. And any of those type of lustful things, whether it be you messing around with somebody or watching too much pornography, all that stuff, that's based on how much discipline you have in yourself and how close you can get to God while doing all of that. People say certain gateway drugs. That is a gateway drug. You go down the path of that, it can definitely leave you in a position to where you affect your whole life trying to meet your own sexual needs. And you can see so many people who have no idea of that concept, and because of it, they're out of it. They don't understand how not to prioritize it above the things that really shouldn't have it prioritized above, and various different things. So it's like, if you let it get out of control and you don't let God into what it is that you're doing, the enemy gonna use that. He will use that. But as far as trying to meet somebody's standards and say you just have to marry somebody just so you can have relations, believe me, you can marry the wrong person trying to meet that goal. And that's why I don't think it's of God. I don't think that statement's of God. There's a lot of times people prioritize sex so much to where if they believe that, they're going to find the absolute worst person to get with or somebody who they only have good sexual energy with so that they can fit that criteria, that man-made statement. I got a wife now we can have sex all day. Yeah, but she's a horrible human being. She's not a good mother. She's going to take all your money. That's not who God wanted you to be with. But because you're saying that this is what is needed in order for you to enjoy sex or in order to have sex, a lot of people in their minds, they're going to go after that just so that they can meet that criteria when they missed 7 or 8 different things that God wanted them to figure out outside of that they ignored entirely because they're trying to meet that. I'm telling y'all, man, a lot of the stuff that we say is God, that ain't God. He ain't had nothing to do with that. If you get close to God, you know exactly what he wants you to do. And you gotta wait for people's old wives' tale statements tell you how to get close to God and how to get in the kingdom of heaven. People be sitting up here trying their very best not to mess up in the sex area, but be treating people like jerks, hurting people, taking money from everybody and thinking that's fine. Pushing people away that need help, all kinds of different stuff that y'all do that piss God off, and we do that pisses God off. But then we want to meet this characteristic and think we're going to get into heaven. You're going to get there, find out that he didn't give a damn who you're having sex with, but he more so cared about how you push somebody else away because of their sexual energy and what it is, who they chose to love. You ain't getting to heaven because you ain't let that person in the church with you. You thought God was going to bless you and not them because they were doing something he told them not to do. But guess what you were doing? Something he told you not to do. He more likely to forgive them because they were better human beings throughout the course of their lives. They might have just messed up in that one area. You messed up in 9. Don't let these people who don't know God tell you who he is and how to get to him. They don't know him. If they knew him, they wouldn't even think to do that. They wouldn't. Because they know they got too many other things to be worried about than be trying to tell people what's not going to get them into heaven. Just being honest with you. Comes from somebody who knows him. He doesn't care as much about that stuff as people think. He does care that you don't allow the enemy to use your inability to discipline yourself against certain things that you should otherwise want to organically do once you get closer to him. And he'll tell you how to manage those things without the need to be in evil circumstances to do it. That's exactly how that works. Because otherwise, you're going to go toward all kinds of different stuff to fit these little criteria that people tell you they know God. They don't know God in these situations. If they did, they wouldn't waste their time telling you that. Your responsibility is to love self and others, man. And by way of that, you should be looking to connect with a God, man. Somebody who can help you with all these little things so that you can come tell people what really should be done rather than waiting for somebody to tell you that they heard great-great-great-granddaddy tell you this is what it is, so he needs to do. Great-great-great-granddaddy was a slave owner. He didn't know shit. He in hell right now. He didn't know nothing about God no more than you do until you get close to him. That's the God's honest truth. So I can tell you right now, premarital sex may be something, but what is the standard of marriage? We determine that, right? I can meet a girl right now, say we married now, God is accepting of that. I don't know this chick. People keep getting married overnight. Marriage ended in 3 months. They had sex. I guess they all right? Versus somebody else who's been in a relationship for 7 years and they abstaining from being with each other, don't have no intention of leaving each other, but because they ain't had the ceremony, it's supposed to be a thing. Make it make sense. You won't. And God gonna be laughing at you when you get to the heaven's gates and find out he didn't give a damn about none of that. He was more concerned how you handled that lady down the street that you didn't think nothing of when she asked you for $1. That was more so what he was interested in you doing. Making sure she had that dollar. Somebody told you they wanted you to help them move and you said nah, you was cool because you wanted to watch the game. Well, God was more so concerned about you helping them move, bro. He really was. Little stuff, man. Somebody asked you where you got them shoes from. You said you didn't want to tell them because you didn't want nobody else the same shoes you had. Well, ask God where he really wanted you to tell them where them shoes is at. Not because they needed them shoes, because when they got there, they was going to meet somebody they need to meet, but because you didn't tell them where to find them, they never met that person. They never got there. So these things, these type of things is like, yo, y'all think God care about certain things, man. He didn't think about none of that crap, man. He gave you the body that you have that you use to lust over things. He knows how your lust works. You just need to connect with him. He'll tell you how to fix it. All this other stuff, these criteria, human beings tell you this, that, and the third. They don't know. They don't know. The relationship with God is what matters. You get that connection. Get the middleman out of here. Get that connection. But I can tell you, a lot of these religions are meant to to coerce you into circumstances where you agree to things that are opposite of the relationship with the religion. That's the thing I learned about religion. A lot of times religion is where you find the secular stuff. You meet people in them churches that ain't no good, that end up putting you in positions that ultimately get you further away from God in a lot of cases. I'm telling y'all, man, there's no perfect science to that. You just need to have that relationship with you built up. There's a lot of these religions, they have things in them that are meant to guilt trip you and to fall in line with the culture of the day. That's what I learned in reading some of the Bible, stuff like that. It's like, man, they telling us slaves gotta obey their master. Man, you know damn well God ain't talking about no damn slavery. He didn't want that. He told y'all to let his people go. Why the hell they got stuff in there talking about believing in enslavement? Man, get out of here. We talk to God. I'm talking directly to him. How you want me to treat that? How you want me to handle that? Well, you find out that slavery was not the slavery that you knew it to be. The slavery you know is some servitude that he didn't respect. Slavery they had was meant for something totally different, and it wasn't even a word. It's like we're talking about with marriage. It's like people take these words and mess around with them, and then they say they're of God. You're not of God. You're perverting his word and leading his people astray. Zion is a word in the Bible. How does Zionism turn out to be something horrible and devilish? Citadel is a word in the Bible. How is Citadel one of the worst hedge funds for stealing money and manipulating the stock market? You understand what I'm saying? Like these people, they pervert everything. They take something from the Bible because they think they're gods, and they want to use your connection to their religion and those words to make you feel like they're a deity above what it is they are, when in actuality they work for the lowest frequency of all. People say that their country's name is Israel. Your country shouldn't be named Israel. Israel is a place where God's people was at. You ain't God's people, you're the opposite. But that's what the devil gonna do. They're gonna take something that's elevated in nature in regards to God and bring the worst possible image to it, which is why they're called Israel. That's exactly why they call Israel. Because they're thumbing their nose at God just like every other entity that is meant to do evil in the name of being the enemy of God. They're going to call themselves something that's likely meant to exalt him, or something that was in the Bible or in the Quran or something like that. They're always trying to do something because they're mimicking God, but they're not really God. They just pretend to be him. That's the point. This is why I believe the church is important, because it can help you understand some of these concepts that I probably found in church. The foundation from which my brain was able to think some of these things came from a church. But believe me, man, some of the worst stuff I ever seen was in church. Just the same. There's no perfect science to this. Some of the best wisdom I ever got came from people who ain't never been to church. It just is what it is. You connect to God, he use anybody. He use your enemies to give you the wisdom. He use your friends to teach you lessons. It's all different types of stuff. Ain't no perfect science to that. That's why I tell people, don't worry about hypocrisy as much as just learning the lesson and watching the people who are the hypocrites and teaching you what it is, what not to do. That's all they can do. It doesn't mean that their wisdom's no good. It just means they can't follow it. We in our society, we want to shun hypocrites. It's just people can't follow their own words. How many times you said you want to do something and didn't do it? How many times you found yourself feeling a certain way and changing your mind, only to find out that what you had initially was the right way? It didn't mean that if somebody else didn't apply what you had going on the right way the first time, they wouldn't find it. It never meant that. It just meant that you, vessel from which the wisdom was carried, was also the example for what happens when the wisdom isn't followed. God used you and all your hypocrisy. And the devil will want to disarm you from not only being the best example of what not to do, but also from anybody listening to the wisdom that you harbor. That's societal. Don't listen to him, he's a hypocrite. Hypocrite's the best example. You look at him long enough, he'll tell you what it is and then show you what's wrong when you don't do it. It's a perfect example. So these type of things, it's like independent thinking, man, and removing a lot of nonsense from within your circumstances has been indoctrinated into us when people have been doing things the wrong way for so long. They're doing things the wrong way for so long, and I'm going to listen to them solely about what God wants. There's a hell full of people just like them. You ain't listen to them. Talk to God directly. Remove stuff that you know you shouldn't do based on what it is in your heart telling you shouldn't do it. The more that you remove from your life, the closer you're going to get to him. If that happens to be sin, then sin. Lust and all these different things. If it happens to be getting cuss words out of your vocabulary. Get them damn cuss words out of there. As I cuss. Hypocrite. I'm not the best version of what it is I'm describing. I'm working toward that level from which I can do it. I'm working toward it. Ain't to say that I got it all together. If I had it all together, he wouldn't have no purpose for me no more, and he'd send me home. If I'm still here, that means I got some stuff to do, some more growing to do. Everybody looking for the perfect person to teach them what the creative wants them to teach them. That's not how this works. There's no perfect people. Your preacher probably got close to God because he was dabbling in things that he shouldn't have been, and the Lord told him, this is what you need to do. Or somebody who wants so bad to live up to a criteria that he can't live up to because of the darkness in his own heart. A lot of times the preacher's the very one that don't know what the heck to do. That's why he's continuing to try to teach others, and hopefully he can learn from what it is he's studying. Stop waiting for these people to be perfect, man. Ain't no such thing as a perfect person. And a lot of ones who acting like they perfect are not self-aware enough to know that they are not. They're just worse ones. No perfect science to this. I was talking to this camera, thinking about my friend and all the stuff that she had been doing that I appreciate. You know what I realized earlier today? That I did some of that same stuff to my mother. It just come back around and bite me in the backside. That's called karma. And if you're paying close enough attention, you can see it applied to your own life based on stuff that you shouldn't have did, that you did earlier in life that's going to come back to you later on. It comes back to you. There are going to be a lot of people say they don't believe in karma. They're not paying attention. It's probably hitting them as they say it. They just don't want to acknowledge it. They're in denial about such things because they want to keep doing what they want to do. But to be a better once is what it is the discipline should be about. Yeah, I want to do certain things, and them things ain't no good for me. They bring about the worst consequences. Why do I want them? Because society told me I should want them, because you told me I should want them. You and society are both going to run into the consequences that come with that. I don't want those consequences. I got to get something else. Get to a point where we start doing things the wrong way because other people do them the wrong way. What the hell does that do? But bring forth more hell. I don't want that. I'm trying to get out of that. That's how I feel about food. I'm not eating that. That's got commercials there, and it shows me that it looks good and tastes good. I don't want that. That's going to bring a heart attack to me. Why the hell I want that? I'm going to have gout because I eat that nonsense. You think I'm supposed to eat that because everybody else eating that? They're all going to have gout. It's going to all be pain for each one of their bodies together. All in the same hospital together. Why the hell I want that? I'm trying to be outside of that. So I got to do things they not doing. Eat healthy, exercise, all these different things. That will keep you alive, man. Following everybody else down the path of unrighteousness will leave you in the same hell they in, friends. Don't follow them. Society will tell you, they'll make it real colorful, they'll do this, that, and the third. They'll shame you by way of culture and by way of the enemy's entities in place that make you shame. They be loud as hell talking about, you need to have this, you need to have that. Why? If I get that, I'm not going to be better for it. I'm likely going to die. Why do I want that? I don't want that. You got to think for yourself, and they try to coerce you away from thinking for yourself by way of the same thing I just said. Cultures and group thinking. We don't want that. We want that. We want that. No, we don't want the consequences that come with that. Don't look at just what it is. Look at the consequences. If I'm going to go out there and put money first and do everything I can to get money, even if that means hurting people, breaking all types of rules and laws, stealing from this person and the third, what comes with those actions? Nothing I want, right? Nothing I want with those actions. So why am I going to follow the entity that's group thinking together in the music or what have you to do those things that bring me horrible consequences? Because everybody else doing it, right? Don't make no sense, but we do it all the time. And it's time to get to a point where we elevate from that. And since I believe in human evolution, you're going to be the first one to get it right. I don't have to wait for everybody else to figure it out and then say, is it right? No. They need somebody to lead them. They ain't the ones you're supposed to be following. You do it your way. Be a leader, not a follower. Especially when it comes to certain things that will otherwise hurt you. You don't want that. That's bad. What the hell you want that for? I'm gonna go ahead and put this cigarette in my mouth. Why? Because everybody else around me smoking cigarettes. So don't you see them people having a hard time getting off of them damn cigarettes? They're addicted to them. They put poison in there that's meant to make your mind need that, even though it's no good for you. You got people smoking cigarettes even though they got lung cancer. Why the hell do you want to start the process of that? Because that's what we do. We don't want that. The evil in place that found a way to make it so that you would want that and wants you to want that. You don't want that. Get that out of your life. It's bad for you. It's terrible for you. It ain't gonna be all right. Now, these are the type of things we need to make regular culture, man. I've been talking about this. This ain't a new conversation for me. If you follow me close enough, you done heard this conversation about 4 times over the last 5 years. But that group thinking stuff will send everybody to hell, man. They ain't really people. They dogs. They animals. So we can do to them whatever we want to do to them. Look at that logically. But you don't want no dog to suffer, do you? But because in your group thinking, these are dog animal people, you get to treat them horribly, right? And we could take their land. In any other walk of life, how the hell are you going to take somebody's anything and not be considered wrongful? But because it says in this indoctrined book that you the people of God, so you can take their land, treat them horrible because they dog people and they dare not do nothing about it. And that makes sense to you? No, it makes sense to the group. It made sense to great-grandpa who wasn't nothing. Great-great-grandpa who wasn't nothing. Who was doing the same evil that cost him his soul that you're going to do that's going to cost you your souls for following him in his evil ways. At some point in time, you got to realize you don't want the same hot that is on his ass right now. You got to do something different. You trusted him. He treated you good. And because he treated you good, you think he was giving you good. He wasn't giving you good. The things he was doing was horrible for you. And you were coerced into the selfish, self-centered nature of him doing good for me means what he means to the world is good for the world. No, fool. He loved you because you were his kid. Things he was doing to the world to make sure you were fed was horrible. He was taking food out of 3 million people's mouths so that you can go to school the way you were. You do not want to follow him. He's going to hell. He got karma going to bite him in the backside all the way there too. You don't want that. Stop that nonsense. You can still do the good for your kids that he did for you without saying that the things that he did was any good for the world. He wasn't no good. He was horrible. Man was a tyrant who loved his own kids, and that was the only person he loved was you. So if you're going to follow him and do the same thing he do, guess how much love you're going to have in you for others? Guess how many enemies you're going to have because of your last name, because of what he did. That's the problem. People self-centered. They think if you don't watch how people treat other people, you want to watch how they treat you, and that's it. I don't care how they treat them. They treating them horrible. You're the only person they treat right. You're the only person they got a good word for. Everybody else they trying to kill at night. But you, because you are all exalted you and everything's supposed to come your way is true and good, that's the only thing that matters, right? But put yourself in a position to be someone else when that energy's coming their way. They may feel the same way about their daddy, but not your daddy, because your daddy want to hurt them. And if you can't think outside of that, then you're just destined for being worse. You gotta think for yourself, man. Don't follow people don't mean you know well, man. Don't follow people don't mean you know good in life. Don't follow people gonna have your last name be scarred by the evil that they believed was good because they couldn't think for themselves. If it ain't got no compassion attached to it, it's probably gonna bring you hell. If it ain't got no unselfishness attached to it and something that'll take you out of your own thinking about your own self being the only thing that matters, believe me, man, it's gonna have you having more enemies than you want. That's all it is, man. We got to get to a point where we understand that. If it means treating people poorly, treating animals poorly, guess what it means? Worse for your last name. That's all it means. If it's about exalting you to be the greatest ever and everybody else is somewhere behind that, trust me, you're not. And so that's just the truth, man. We got to get to a point where we understand these things and not following people down the path that ultimately makes us worse, makes them worse, for leading us worse into worse spaces. It's a concept that came to me as I was listening to my Bible study with my uncle and my family. And they were essentially sharing with me by way of the Bible that when you are given something and it's given to you in in a warm way, like, unselfish giving, you should feel congratulatory toward those who gave to you because they're going to benefit greatly from giving. I never heard that concept before. It's like, because they were so gracious in giving to you. For example, my uncle and my grandfather giving me money to get me through these difficulties. I should be not only grateful that they gave to me to benefit myself, but congratulating them for being in a position from which to enjoy the fruit of giving. The subject being myself, but in general, that they were willing to give will make it so that they're rewarded by way of the karma that comes with that. That's something to congratulate somebody for and be happy for them for not only their willingness to give, but for effectively being able to do so and welcoming the good energy that comes with that. Gracious giving and the good karma that comes with it, and the blessings and the happiness that it provides them creator when you do it. Not a lot of people know that concept because we're in a capitalistic society. Capitalistic is work for everything you get. Your works equal what it is you eat, and that's it. I hate to break it to y'all, but that's devilish. It's devilish. That's a devilish concept. Now, many people don't want to accept that because they're capitalist, but I promise you, when you get to heaven, the Lord's not going to be interested in what you earned for yourself and your family. He's going to be interested in what you gave graciously to whomever you gave it to. And a lot of times in the society, we coerce ourselves away from that by way of the rules of doing things correctly in this capitalistic ways of society. They coerce your spirit away from what's good for you, what's good for your overall karma. You got to find a balance in that, since we can't operate no other way in these modern times. You got to find a balance for that. And that's what tithings is supposed to be. You get your little 10%, it'll offset the bad karma from doing things correctly, which is karmatically incorrect in a lot of cases. Holding things against certain people because they don't have a certain amount, that keeps the balance of what you're doing right, but that ain't what God told you to do. He told you to do something entirely different, but because you're in society and it works that way, you just got to work that way. Tithings offsets that. Gracious giving offsets that. That's what it does. In a sinful world, even if you don't want to be sinful, you're gonna go without. You're gonna be the last one left, and yeah, you'll be first in heaven. First you'll be last. Last will be first, and that is why. That's exactly why. For those who are wondering why the first will be last and last will be first, that is why. It's not just something that's tricky and really funny to say, or whatever the word would be to say. No, it's the balance of things. Because if you do everything the right way, you ain't gonna have nothing on this earth. You're going to be the last one. Because everybody's doing things more or less the wrong way. It's true. And so as I move, and you follow me for almost 800 episodes of this, you know that I've tried to do things the right way in a lot of cases. Since I've been aware of this, I've tried to stay away from what the Lord doesn't want me to do. And a lot of times it keeps me from having any damn thing at all. Literally. Not to say I don't have anything, but all the stuff that's perks that come with being successful and all that, I stay away from that stuff because I know spiritually, karmatically, a lot of it coerces you into being wrong. I want to give my art away. I don't want to sell it. So I don't have nothing. Like literally. I don't want to work for money because if I have to do that, then I have to do certain things that they don't allow me to speak the way I want to speak, etc., etc. So, go without. Nobody knows who I am. I'm speaking to 400 people instead of 450,000 or whatever. And like it's about trying to do what God wants me to do in a place where doing things the way God wants you to do it puts you in a position not to have what you otherwise would want. So, what do I want? To be a better wants. Very simple. And to trust that God will make it make sense when it's time. Or he'll get me out of here and I won't miss a thing. Either way, I would have did things the way I know I should have, despite the world telling me otherwise. Because I was gifted enough of a thinker to think for self. Not waiting for the group to tell me what's right or wrong in a lot of cases, although in some cases, unfortunately, I fall in place with the group. And sometimes that's okay. Sometimes it don't pull you away at all. But where I could figure it out, where not to, I did. I stayed away from stuff. Maybe you say I hid, but I just effectively avoided it. And through 39 years of life, I did all right. I think he would agree. BDF 44. I thank y'all for watching.